Oh, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from the beautiful metaverse, and this is Reverend Don's vlog. And I want to thank you for joining me. And our question tonight comes to us from Kasandra Santos. And this is Cassandra's question. Do you believe that you can draw energy out of anything to your benefit? I feel I could even manipulate the negative energy or magic being used against me to my benefit, because at the end of the day, it is extra energy. And herbs that can be used as an idea, not quite literally the physical items, but the idea of what is used, and just be stronger in intent and manipulation of the energy used. So anyway, the question is, firstly, can you draw energy from anything? And secondly, and perhaps more interestingly, for the viewers of the vlog, can you turn negative energy that might be sent against you into positive energy? And so let's begin with a little bit of a review of energy. From a Correllian viewpoint, and I think generally a metaphysical viewpoint, the universe and everything in it is energy. We are energy, and everything around us is energy. And the physical bodies of which we are conscious are also energy, as is the spiritual aspect of our being of which we are not always conscious, but which is always there, regardless of whether we're speaking of ourselves or anything else in the universe. I want to say good evening to Karen Kelly. Thank you for joining us, Karen. And in the normal course of life, we are constantly expending energy. In some cases consciously, mostly unconsciously. We're also receiving energy. And I want to say hello to Arlene Fried. Thank you for joining us. And we take in energy from others, usually unconsciously. Others receive energy from us. We're always exchanging. This is why psychic hygiene is so important to the magical practitioner, because this process of picking up energy is not necessarily a conscious one. But when we learn metaphysics, when we learn magic, it becomes a conscious process. But whether we're conscious of it or not, we're doing it. And I want to say hello to Dale Lord. Thank you for joining us, Dale. One of the things I often say is that magic is an ordinary part of life. It's not, we use the term metaphysical, but, or supernatural, but actually it's a very natural, very physical thing that's always there. Most people just are not conscious of it. And this exchange of energy is part of that. When we become conscious, and hello to Eric Hebert, thank you for joining us. When we become conscious, then how we interact with these things changes for the better, at least if we know what we're doing. And when you work with energy, when you work with metaphysics in general, you work with energy, you learn how to consciously interact in this way. And the reason, for example, that you might get a certain feeling when you walk into a room without necessarily having interacted with anyone, and hello to Mary Hawk, thank you for joining us, Mary. The reason you get that feeling, or perhaps you've walked into a building where no one actually lives at this time, but you still get a feeling from it. Might be a good feeling, might be a bad feeling, it's because you're picking up that energy. And you don't have to do it intentionally to have done it. When you learn metaphysics, as I say, it becomes a more intentional thing. I've had people ask me if I just get random impressions when I wander around. I do not, as a general rule, because I don't consider that good psychic hygiene. I have to actually look because I am well shielded, because there are a lot of things I would not want to pick up. Certainly a lot of things I wouldn't want to pick up randomly. But if I look, I can certainly see and receive. With this question, can you use the energy of anything to your benefit? Well, yes, I would say absolutely. We talk about this throughout the degree lessons. And um, the ambient energies of the universe are very helpful, very useful. We're always picking up on them. And in magic, it's wise to consciously use them, because if you're not pulling in the energies of the universe, so to speak, the energies that are around you, then you're using your own energy. And this can be depleting. So it's very wise to pull that ambient and generally undedicated energy and help it to focus on what you're wanting to do. And so, yes, you can pull energy from anywhere. I want to say hello to Ruth White, Wolf Bear. Thank you for joining us, Ruth. So yes, you pick up on energy all the time. Unconsciously, you can pick it up consciously. And particularly in the sense of drawing on the ambient energy around you, you absolutely can use it and should use it in your magic and in your daily life. Now, the second part of this question, can you turn negative energy that may have been sent against you into positive energy? And there are a lot of people who are not going to agree with my point of view on this. And that's all right, because we don't all agree on everything. But my answer is absolutely you can do that. Why would you not be able to do that? Every ritual we do, we start by cleansing the energy of the space. So obviously you know you can clear the charge from energy, and then we recharge it for our ritual. You can do that with any energy. Now, I will say that some will be easier than others, and some may be beyond a certain individual's capability, but it certainly can be done. And so one of the things that you want to bear in mind, if you do feel that you're the subject of a psychic attack, that you can take that energy, cleanse it from its original charge, and recharge it to a positive vibration. And Dale in the chat room says, what if I have never been educated on this, yet I have felt and received and recognized these things since I was a baby? And or at least since he was young. And the answer is a lot of people are in that position. What I would say is that while you may not have studied it in this life, you've probably studied it in another. And in the Corellian tradition, we have a term for that. It's called being born old, that you come into this life with many abilities already activated, for want of a better way to put it. And we believe that that's because you have previously developed them in other incarnations and therefore have drawn them forward. I would say an awful lot of people who end up in a metaphysical path are not on that path for the first time. And it's not unusual that they were already actively experiencing these things before they started studying. Now, the problem with that is that it's good to have native ability, and it's good to pull things through, but it's still also good to study the techniques, because you may not remember them all. You may not have learned them all in the first place. And having control over these things is very important, in my opinion. Many people I've met who have who are born old and bring through some of these abilities have no real control over them, and therefore it's not necessarily as much of a blessing as it might be. When you learn to control them, it becomes a more positive thing. Now, Jason, and hello, Jason. Hello, Fluffy, I should say. Fluffy in the chat room has a question. When working with ghosts, should we offer up something to the spirits before we start working with them? And here I would say that in my background, we draw a distinction between a spirit and a ghost. If you're working with a spirit which has crossed over and you're working with them from the other world, then yes, it would be good to make an offering. It need be nothing more than a candle, a prayer, could be more formal. I would say that's very good, particularly with spirit guides, for example, or ancestors. A ghost, on the other hand, can be a number of different things depending on who's speaking. And basically a ghost is trapped energy that has not crossed over, residue from a lifetime. And sometimes the entirety of that incarnation is trapped between the worlds, sometimes only a portion. And I would not say that it's necessary to make an offering when working with a ghost in that way. What you do want to do is help to free that energy. I would say they're not in a position to really accept an offering in the first place because they usually are not fully aware of their situation. And so we've had several questions this evening. That's very cool. And a number of people are pointing out in the chat room, for example, Eric has pointed out that energy is energy. It's intent that makes it good or bad. This is absolutely true. And Lady Karen has said that if you intend to accept and cleanse the bad, you most certainly can change it. Absolutely. The other thing that I would say, going 10 topics to the side, but still kind of apropos to this question. So we also want to remember when talking about energy, that what we consider good or bad is relative. One thing that I often like to point out, when we cleanse negative energy, as we usually do before magical working, that doesn't mean bad. It means without a positive charge. Negative energy can simply be muddy or occluded, has lots of emotions in it that have no focus. It's not necessarily in any way intended to be hurtful energy. It's just unfocused energy. And when we talk about cleansing negative energy, that's usually what we mean. But of course, we know that it can carry a more intentionally hurtful charge if someone has done that, or if it has come about in various ways. And again, we can absolutely clear that charge from that energy and redirect it. When we do healings, that's often part of what we're doing, particularly if we're doing a healing for land, for example, that has seen a traumatic event. What we're doing is we're clearing that negative charge and replacing it with a positive one. And so, of course, we can also do that if someone has intentionally sent that energy to us individually. It's the same process. And I want to thank everyone for listening. If you enjoy the vlog, please hit like, subscribe, or share, depending on the platform that you see it on. The vlog appears on Facebook, on Pagan World, and on YouTube at magictv.com. And thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and thank you everyone who's been in the chat room. And at the top of the hour, I will be doing Chancellor's Chat, as I do each Monday, and I hope that many of you will join me there. And until next time, may you blessed be.